Avi Meyer's Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Jewish Chicago is on the street and available everywhere for your early voting pleasure. This coming Sunday, October 28th, live from the CAN TV studios, I mean live, from 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on Channel 19, available on YouTube the next day. We're doing a live election show. Anita Alvarez will be our featured guest. Make sure you don't miss it. It is my pleasure to introduce you to a Democratic candidate for the Circuit Court of Cook County, running against massive opposition. But in the judicial races, we can't get on the soapbox and promise 40 acres and a mule. Michael Tully Mullen, how you doing?
Nice to see you, Avi.
My pleasure, and I want to thank our mutual friend Jim Nally for introducing us.
Thank you.
And of course, you can read about soon-to-be Judge Mullen. He is running unopposed, so I think he's going to win. But you'll be able to see his name in Jewish Chicago and find out about him. In any event, give us your background.
Well, I grew up in Morton Grove, so that's part of this area here, and I went to Loyola Academy, Marquette University, Loyola Law School, and then for the last 30 years, I've been in practice here in Chicago. So I had the opportunity to work as an assistant attorney general under Ty Fainer and Neil Hartigan, and then I was at the U.S. Attorney's Office for 7 years as a federal prosecutor, and then for the last 20 years, I've been working as in private practice, doing personal injury work.
Oh, very good. And you know, I was reading some of your stuff. You got massive settlements. I mean, people don't realize, you know, when people are hurt and all that, you know, like there's a serious need to. People can't work the rest of their lives, or they lost their lives. The families deserve compensation. Absolutely.
So for the last 20 years, that's what I've been doing. I've focused on the catastrophic injuries. So that's why those numbers are so large. It's over $100 million in verdicts and settlements, and so that's basically what I've been doing.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And not to mention the federal experience on top of it. And you've also done teaching.
I have taught. I was a trial instructor for the Department of Justice. So the way that works is the people who are doing a lot of trial work at the U.S. Attorney's Office are selected, and they're sent to Washington, D.C., where the headquarters for DOJ is, and they teach the younger attorneys, the younger prosecutors from throughout the country, how to perform in a courtroom. So what to do, and more importantly, what not to do in front of a jury.
Well, what not to do is probably a really good thing. By the way, just to get back to one thing and then we'll go forward, I can't get it out of my head. When you said Marquette, my favorite basketball team of all time was the national championship Marquette team under Al McGuire.
1977, I was there, and I remember every shot.
And by the way, I saw them play at every single opportunity in Chicago. I used to go to DePaul, and Al McGuire is my favorite coach of all time.
Those were great battles. Those were absolutely fabulous battles in the late 70s, early 80s. And then both programs kind of got in a little, fell off a little bit in the 80s, but I think they're both back.
I think Marquette maybe a little more. There's a guy playing in Miami that I wish was playing in Chicago that went to Marquette that is one of the, and I can't think of his name, who's one of the best players in the NBA. You know, LeBron's number, Dwayne Wade.
Oh, D. Wade.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, but let's get back to the judge stuff. I'm sorry, I'm a basketball junkie.
So am I. My son's at Indiana, and they're just pre-ranked #1 this year. So that just came out today in the coaches poll.
Nice.
So we follow basketball.
So in the primary, did you have an opponent?
No.
Oh, you're really lucky.
I was very, very fortunate. There were only 2 of us who were unopposed, and that was a good thing.
That's a very good thing. You know, I would get all these in the shoots we did before the primary. I would shoot 3-4 shows at a time. I have as many as, I think the most I ever had was 12 or 13 judicial candidates. There were 5 or 6 here in a row. They'd all be comparing what their next stop was, what affair they were going to that night, where they had a campaign. And because of the nature of Cook County, you would have been going from the far south all the way to just about Highland Park.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge county. Our budget's bigger than 25 states budgets in the country, so it's enormous. You have prisons, the largest prison in the state. You have 2 hospitals, so the county, most people don't appreciate how large of a county it is. So I ran countywide, so that's the area we were talking about.
Oh, you're fortunate. You're very fortunate.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, I guess it's the second largest court system in the United States.
It is.
Excuse me. So is there any, I mean, basically you're going to get assigned to what you're going to get assigned, and most people start in traffic court in the first place.
Traffic court is usually the first assignment,
Yeah.
and then the chief judges will determine this is probably the best fit for that individual given the experience and really what they want. I think that there's a lot of recognition that some people may be a better fit in domestic relations as opposed to law division. So I think that those decisions will be made, you know, hopefully pretty soon on my behalf.
One of the things that had explained to me, but being why people start in traffic court, is not just the caseload, but the different kinds of people and the different kinds of cases, and you get a wide variety of situations to react to, and that's how they take a look at you.
There's no doubt about it. Some people, the only exposure they have to our court system is in traffic court. That's it. They don't get jury service, or they're not called for it. But in traffic court, you have people from all different types of walks of life. They got a you know, traffic offense for some incident, and they are scared to death.
Yeah.
And so it's important to have people who are going to listen to the individual, whose case it is, and listen to the police officers and make the correct decision.
No, and no, it's, listen, I've had more than my share of experiences. Of course, thank God I haven't had traffic court in over 20 years, having a ticket. Well, after I got caught doing 93 on Western, I was a more careful driver.
That's a little fast.
Well, it was a nice turbocharged Pontiac, and it was a shame not to run the turbo.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a little fast.
Definitely a little fast. But in any event, do you have, by the way, I got put on supervision because I didn't have a ticket.
I think you were lucky.
Well, actually, I had the right lawyer. They had a lot. Things were a little different in those days, but I had I had the judge went hi. You know, I don't want to say his first name, but the judge went, "Hi, so and so, how are you?" And I knew I was sitting pretty. In any event, did you put up a campaign website? I mean, you don't need to.
I did. It's www.mullenforjudge.com.
And that's Mullen.
Correct.
And pick up Jewish Chicago. You can see his ad. And I can't tell you I gave you a detailed analysis of his race because he wasn't opposed. But his name is within the text of the issue also. And listen, I want to wish you a lot of luck. I'm really glad I got a chance to meet you. I want to thank Jim Nally for that. And I want to wish you a lot of luck as judge. And I hope you have great success in the coming years.
Thank you, Avi.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
My pleasure.